Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this morning. Welcome to the Construction Innovation Summit Saudi 2024. First and the second panel, and then we will have a prayer break for 30 minutes. We will then ask everybody to rejoin us back into this ballroom for the final round of panels. So, what are the current innovations driving the shift in contracting practices? What technology, sustainability, AI is changing the future of this industry? Shall we find out? If I could kindly ask the speakers for panel 1 to come onto the stage along with the moderator, that is Darren, Amin, Fahad, and Viba back on the stage, and then we can begin with panel 1. Round of applause for our first panel, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Simone. So, how are you guys? How is this morning treating you all?
All good. Hello.
Yeah, all good.
We're good. Thank
All
you
good,
for having.
yeah?
Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, no, delighted to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. It's important to attend these presentations and forums with like-minded individuals for the benefit of the built environment, so delighted to take the stage.
Yeah, likewise, I'm very happy to be here, sharing the stage with like-minded people and also the rest of attendees. So looking forward to have very constructive conversation with the rest.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more, Vibha. We welcome you guys. The whole discussion is about the shift in contracting and construction, and we love the shift of publications like BNC coming from Dubai to Saudi Arabia. So that's the first shift. And we want to thank you, we want to welcome you from the UAE to here, and lots of competitors, lots of companies coming from Dubai to Saudi now. That's one of the shifts, and it's a good shift. Lowering the prices, increasing the competition, but it's a good problem, so we welcome you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fahad. Thank you. You know, I want to pick up from my speech. I was emphasizing a lot on the Saudi Vision 2030. With that having said, we have a lot of projects, there are giga projects, there's a lot of developments. So I want to understand from each one of you, coming with the different backgrounds that you have, how do you see the contractors, you know, seeing the shift and even adapting themselves to these changes?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, there's a dramatic shift for sustainability. We're on the run-up to 2030. 5 years to go. I think every project and every giga project is under pressure. Sustainability is definitely the way forward, whether it's life cycle, embodied carbon, and the circular economy. I think what falls into that is, which is something that we have a business unit focused on, is modular, to physically serve the purpose of getting there. But coming with modular, it needs a lot of maturity to get the front end designed physically in place, so that you can optimize, you can obviously have uniformity in configurations to release it. But if we don't have maturity in fixing that design, which is definitely a problem on all projects and all giga projects at the moment, to try and get them running, it'll force delays into the system. And as Fahad has alluded to there is a capacity issue in the kingdom with all these projects that have to physically deliver. So the one thing that we can't, I suppose, tolerate, or the region can't tolerate, is delays. So delays, once they go to ground, it reduces the market capacity for extra development. So yes, we obviously look forward to the challenge of participating alongside Fahad and Amin. And I think there's a bright future for everybody in the kingdom with all the projects that are in play, but it comes with being realistic with timeframes and to put the effort into the design, finalising design, to try and put these new products to market.
Yes, from my perspective, as I said, I mean, we're definitely seeing big spending in terms of construction from the government side. I mean, I think the numbers I've seen, it's around 150 billion in the next few years. And with that comes the challenge of building that capacity to be able to deliver these projects. I mean, obviously we've got the Vision 2030 projects and giga projects and some of the mega projects associated with them. but then also recently with the Expo 2030 and with the as well potentially the 2034 World Cup, a lot of construction projects are expected to come as part of these initiatives, which again will press on building even bigger capacity in the kingdom to be able to meet these demands and construction capacity. And with that comes also, we're seeing a lot of PPP, like public-private partnership. A lot of things are being pushed also by the government in terms of participation to make sure that we achieve this one. Definitely sustainability is a big topic these days, both in terms of material and also having green buildings being built. And with that, on top of this, we're seeing also a lot of focus on utilizing technology to make sure that you have much better visibility, more dynamism around monitoring the projects as they get developed. And this as well put more demand on us as contractors and players in the market to make sure that we are up to speed and up to the technology, deploying these cutting edge technology to make sure that you have the right visibility and also delivering on time accordingly.
Absolutely. I would build on what Darren and Amin have said regarding the technology. It's playing a great role on how we do day-to-day things, how we used to do them 10 years ago, how we're doing them now, and how we will be doing them, within the next decade. And we cannot ignore the role of BIM, project management softwares, and going forward, 3D printing is coming in huge. Modular construction is one of the trends that, we see, and we just saw in the video how ALEC is doing it by Link. I did a virtual tour of your factory with one of the colleagues out at Big Five, and I was very happy to see what they're doing. And this is kind of the trend that is happening, because traditionally, for some reason, construction industry has, if you compare it with the manufacturing industry, our efficiency has been low in comparison to both. It's almost flat. Although we've done amazing things in the last 200 years, be it the innovation of elevators, be it the shift from doing the drawings manually to AutoCAD. But all in all, if you compare the efficiency levels between manufacturing and construction, we've been behind. That's where modular construction is going to play such a key role in the upcoming years, because that's kind of bringing in manufacturing. You just build something offshore and just ship it and then install it. And so it's more of a manufacturing construction. So it's a very interesting thing that's happening. Plus 3D printing, with the UAE goals to have 30% of buildings by 2030 as 3D printed. This is huge. And 3D printing not only brings sustainability, which both my colleagues here said. I think sustainability is something we cannot ignore. It's a huge, huge trend in Saudi Arabia right now. We have, in the last years, a COP28 confirmation by His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman that we want to be net zero by 2060 here. So if we ignore sustainability, we're going to be out of market. So yeah, that's what I had to say about the trends.
I mean, just to, sum up to what the three of you have said, there are, I think, 2-3 key elements that you guys are focusing on. One is, of course, the digitalization, and second is sustainability. So, Amin, I want to start with you, because you're the Chief Information Officer at Nesma. What are certain innovative trends that you're looking forward to embed within the company, and you are going to, hopefully it will help the broader industry?
Thank you. It's a very important question. Let me just say I'm relatively new to the industry. I've joined the company quite recently. And what I have in mind in terms of construction is, like my colleague Fahad said, typically the construction industry seems to be lagging behind in terms of technology, leveraging technology to really improve productivity and scalability. And as we just said, there is a need to build capacity. Maybe previously there has been a big focus on control and scheduling and monitoring and delivering on time, but not so much on expanding delivery and being able to deliver much more. So what we're looking at, aside from making sure that you have the right ERP structure and what have you to make sure that you have all your monitoring and controls in place, we're seeing and looking at technologies related to robotics, drones, to improve the efficiency, obviously also linking back to the BIM to make sure that you can monitor in real time, also collaboration between the various aspects of the team members who are working on the projects. These are all technologies that we're looking at and are indeed available to help improve the efficiency and also potentially improve the productivity of achieving these projects.
Thanks, Amin. But even Darren, linked by ALEC, do you want to tap into that and tell me how you are driving digital transformation?
Yeah, we see obviously capacity is a big constraint on the marketplace. I think with all the volume of all the projects at the moment, the capacity is just not there to do the large-scale deliverables that are on the table for 2030 and beyond. And I think there definitely is a mindset change to look at modular. To use modular, I think all parties and all stakeholders need to be mature about it, because it's very much hands-off once the design is finalised, to allow that efficiency, to allow that cost-effectiveness, to standardise units, to be able to get them out the door. It's very, very important that the design is done early, so you can actually feed into the supply chain. The supply chain's delivering materials just in time. You remove all that congestion and interface physically on a site that normally happens in large projects. You know, interface with many different entities and many different contractors and stakeholders. You're removing quite a lot of that substantially once you start going into modular. So it's about the initial take-up. Obviously, we started the modular facility a couple of years back. All our business units are clearly focused on modular volumetric construction. So wherever we can, even the MEP divisions, they focus on modular cassette units, whether it's in ceilings, whether it's in plant rooms, to remove that resource capacity constraint off the site and free up resource for other projects with the capacity that's there. So it definitely is something that we believe is sustainable. The market does need to catch up. The market does need to take a deep breath and focus and say, is it right for the deliverables for 2030? You're improving quality control. Everything is done in a factory environment. You've remote monitoring attributes from a digitization perspective. So all in all, it's helping, in the long run, it's helping the Vision 2030, I suppose, with their capacity to drive to that net zero, as we discussed, for 2060. And you know, we owe the leadership of this country and beyond as experts in the field to do things the right way and to leave legacies behind us for the communities in Saudi Arabia and the stakeholders and the economy beyond. Yeah.
Thanks, Darren. Fahad, what would you like to add on?
Definitely. I mean, we can't underwrite the efforts being made by the region as a whole to bring efficient construction into being. And I think it's the trend has been set right from the top. And while we're talking about manufacturing and modular construction, and we're talking about sustainability and the use of drones and robotics to monitor projects and deliver them on time, what we're doing at AMAQ is something a little bit different but it is a support system of our construction department. So one of the biggest pain areas in contracting construction we have, other than the delayed payments, is our supply chain and the procurement. So what we are working with our partners, with ex-Amazon, ex-Noon, is to develop a B2B e-commerce software where we can deliver with real-time pricing all the construction materials that are needed to your projects, to your site. See, we don't have the problem that you need to deliver after 2 hours. The problem is that deliver when you promised for it to be delivered, even if it's the day after tomorrow. So using technology, using electronics, using softwares, using e-commerce, using dark stores, we will enable, and that will actually enable the youth of Saudi Arabia to come into the contracting and construction industry. What really is the entry barrier into construction is not getting engineers and good people on board. It's actually 30, 35, 40% of your business is procurement, and especially the complex procurement. So you will not understand how to procure, where to procure, who to pick up. So that will really grant an entry to the local population to get involved into the construction businesses. People run away from it, and the reason is because they don't know where to get, what to get, how to get, and when it will be delivered, and is the prices correct or not. So we're really solving the pain area of all contracting companies. Mid-size, large-scale contracting companies already have their procurements and supply chains settled. But having said that, we have a huge client here. They have onboarded ERP system, Oracle, and what's the other one? SAP Ariba. And what I see is how we're talking about how we're behind in terms of manufacturing, using technologies in manufacturing. They have that, but they're running it parallel, so everything gets done manually, all the negotiations, everything gets done manually, but then it gets uploaded on the system just for the sake of it. So we really want something sustainable, something that is actually doable, and something that, will be there to last. So that's how we're coming up with this e-commerce platform, to engage our procurement and essentially going forward eliminate the procurement and delivery headaches of the contracting industry. So yeah, that's how we're adopting technology at AMAQ.
I mean, that is very interesting. And again, we've touched upon sustainability as a key element. I want to know, what is a definition, according to you guys? I'm not saying book definition or anything. And please don't try to play safe here, but how would you describe a sustainable contractor?
I'll go first. By the time we're engaged, depending on the contract model that's chosen, with the traditional contract, the contractor comes on board at the back end of the design process. So at that stage, all you can come up with is efficiencies in your own methodologies and your own systems of physical work. Because other than that, you're following the specifications and the information and the design briefs that are already prescribed inside in the contract. There is motivation, a lot of people are talking about it, but early contractor involvement models, whereby the contractor gets involved early after concept design, and he starts looking at scheduling issues, budgeting issues, obviously buildability issues, quality issues, and from health and safety perspective, to put that whole package together and watch the budgets as these things are designing. So it's easier to build in more sustainable systems of work at that juncture. The negatives on that for us as a contractor is, if that's a competition and there's 5 or 6 contractors on board during that ECI, you tentatively hand over your smarts on that journey to go into a competitive bid process at the back end of it, which ultimately you've only maybe 20% chance of converting that to a success rate. So our skill set as a business, across all our businesses, in our people. Okay, so we lose our people, our smart people that's able to put strategies and methodologies on the table to earn their salary once a month when we're not a consultant. These people are used to turning over 50 and 100 million a month, and to lose at the back end of that doesn't make sense for us. So the only way the ECI, I'm saying there is merit still doing ECI, but you need to get the competition out of the way on maybe a stage 1 of 2 processes. That you do that a fixed P&G at the very, very start of the process. You're comparing the contractors, you look at the markups, you look at overheads, you look at schedules of rates and everything else. But once that goes to stage 2, there's only one contractor participating on that evolution from concept design to detail design to come up with them smarts. So you allow the designer or assist the designer to develop for modular. And design for modular. It's too late once that's already done, and now you're already going to ground. To go back to the initial part of the question, for sure we've an innovation department. Our leads are physically here today if anyone needs to chat to them, but they're absolutely intense and very, very passionate about what we physically do. We breed innovation within our business. We do believe it's part of our DNA. And our upcoming Innovation Day will be testament to that. We have a lot of the industry coming in to participate with our people. It's not only an external and internal event. So it goes without saying, we make sure we give everybody a voice inside in the business. No matter what bright idea comes up, it gets interrogated, it goes through a committee, and then the successful ones go into implementation. So we're not on about designing the new SpaceX rocket to go to the moon. That will come. I think we are working on it, phase 2, but it's about small little efficiencies. And when you create them small efficiencies, the next one presents itself. So our business is always looking for ways of making it more efficient, reducing the paper, less political. Everything is on application at the moment, whether it's AR, VR. It's just to try and streamline the process. I think, from a framework perspective, thinking outside of that and looking at modular as a whole, I think the marketplace has to change. It needs to be mandated from a statute perspective to force modular and force people to start thinking modular and force people to start designing for modular. So that comes at a statute level or federal level inside in these countries. I think that has to be the way forward, is to start being pragmatic about that, and obviously promoting that from the outside, from the top.
That's interesting. Amin?
No, I think similar to what Darren has mentioned, I mean, building efficiencies within the process definitely helps. And then, as I said before, there's a big focus from the government on green building, even eco-friendly material and what have you, from all aspects on sustainability, and focusing on these aspects during the contract would definitely help produce the sustainability requirements that are there. Yeah.
I think coming to your question, which was what exactly is a sustainable contractor as a sustainable project, I feel as though there has been a lot of talk about sustainability in the past few years, and the trend has been set right from the top, as we discussed earlier. Having said that, but just to put things into perspective, Vibha, we have about 244 or 245,000 registered contractors in Saudi Arabia as of today. As of last month, the number of LEED certified buildings in Saudi Arabia were 1,140 only. Last year, this time, we were at 869. So the number, and then before that was a very slow curve. We're really speeding up now. So sustainability, even though there's such a mass government focus on it, I don't think that it is being adapted as much as it should be. There's only 245 LEED projects, 5 of them are done by us. So we all over here as market leaders want to set the trend, but at the same time, I think globally, now the governments are realizing that they need to start rewarding by tax cuts or rebates to the contractors or the clients even that are taking the green initiative. Because see, it's not just green building for saying or getting that one, a shield to put in your office that we've constructed a green project. It's actually, we need to have emotional intelligence in all of our employees. And I sit with my team all the time, I explain to them that this is our corporate social responsibility. While we're registering profits, we should also care about the future generations to come so that they remember us in good words, because we left them enough resources, number one. Number two, we left them a safe environment to live in. I mean, construction is a very, very dirty industry because we account for 32% of carbon footprint globally. And so we have a lot to do as leaders in this industry in setting those trends, but the trends cannot be set just by vendors and contractors. It has to come with a mass legislation that supports everybody that is doing these sustainable practices. And I'm not going to quote Jeff Bezos, I'm not going to quote Warren Buffett, I'm not going to quote Bill Gates. I'm going to quote the most influential person in the history of mankind, where Michael Hart mentioned in his book, which is our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He mentioned 1,500 years ago that if you have a plant in your hand and the horn gets blown for the day of judgment and you still have time to plant it, then plant it. So that is the aggression and that is the attention to detail we need to the sustainability. In another instance, one of his companions was making wudu, the one we do before we pray, and he saw that a little bit water was getting wasted, so he actually told him that you were wasting water. And he said, is this counted as wasting water? He said, even if you're at the bank of a river and washing your face, still have to do water conservation, which we all talk about. So planting a tree solves your problem of carbon emissions, more oxygen in the air, water conservation right there. So if somebody doesn't want to do it for the financial numbers of it, they don't want to do it for the trend, do it so you don't go to hell. So, you have to put the religious element to make them understand that, it's a part of as belief, as religion as well, which is our, not only corporate social responsibility, also our religious responsibility. So, yeah.
Thanks, Fahad. Very well said. And here, when we are talking about digitalization and sustainability, if, you guys can give me one another opportunity that you're seeing in the market or in the industry that you're looking forward to change, adapt, and adjust, then what would that be?
All right, so we'll go this way now. I think one of the most underrated technologies that we're not using right now is the blockchain. Blockchain can do miracles and solve all our problems in one go, but the construction industry is not really using blockchain as we should. It is being adapted in different parts of the world, also this part of the world, but it's very slow. That pace is very slow. I think blockchain interface with artificial intelligence, metaverse, virtual reality, augmented reality, just like Darren and Amin spoke, and then using the Internet of Things devices to get your invoices certified, and then drone technology to do those surveys, robotics there. So, and then the blockchain itself is very secure. So if we do, and then the usage of smart contracts, which is a part of blockchain technology itself, that really the whole cycle kills all our problems that we face on a day-to-day basis, which one of the biggest of them is the cash flow, not just from the client to the contractor to, and then all the way to the suppliers and the subcontractors. So once it's all automated, you can get your invoices, no longer the consultants have to go, and then the PO/MO office has to go and verify that. And then, so many teams going to certify just, a bill, which then can be done in seconds because it's all being certified electronically, being monitored on a daily basis. So smart contract will say, this is the milestone you've met. IoT devices will confirm that. Boom, wherever is the escrow account or wherever is the payment, you get the payment immediately. And then you are also bound to, automatically release those payments to your vendors and subcontractors. But it's easier said than done because construction is something that is very human-centric as of today. So there's a lot of variations. We love that word. A lot of changes while we're doing the projects, and then modular kills a lot of that issue, and then the use of technology where metaverse and VR, as Amin spoke, that actually is reducing the number of variations, because once the client sees the project in virtual reality, they make the changes wherever they want there and then, that get done in 2 days. But while we're doing it on site, it's probably going to take a month. And then it also kills the sustainability because that all material is wasted, raw materials gone, time gone. So I think construction industry annually loses just because of these not using blockchain. While I was researching for this panel discussion, was about $1.5 billion annually, just in these inefficiencies. That's a Burj Khalifa every year, just to put things into perspective. So it's a lot of wastage that we're doing. So I feel that a game changer for this industry is going to be blockchain after 3D printing. 3D printing is the biggest. I think it's going to be a massive change if 3D printing gets adopted, just like the innovation of elevator was. 3D printing is too, and then the blockchain eventually is going to just speed things up, because that's the trend that we're seeing in this part of the world. Everything needs to get done yesterday. So we don't talk in months and quarters. We talk about days, hours, and minutes. My team sitting here would agree.
I think to what Fahad has said, definitely, and the common theme of what he mentioned is data. So data-driven construction, if you will. It starts off obviously with capturing the data, making sure that the IoT is installed in there, and then you're capturing the right level of data, the right resolution of data, if you will. And then once you've got the blockchain and the smart contracts in place, obviously that expedites the process much, much more. And then you reach a level where AI comes in play because you've accumulated enough data to even autonomously make decisions on certain things and guide the decision-making process in place. But to reach that level, as Fahad has said, there's, I would say, I don't want to say a very long journey. I mean, we can get there, but what we've noticed is so technology is there, it's available, a capability of people and having the right people in place. And also with the rush projects and the speed at which construction is taking place, it's like the common probably story that someone saw a person sewing, but without actually perfecting the sew. And when they told him, go and make sure that you perfect your sew before you do it, he said, I don't have time. So that's the issue we're in. We're doing so many things at the same time that we're losing focus on improvement on the process in place. So things have to happen in parallel without having to unnecessarily have delays. And adoption of technology currently is a bit of a challenge because of the volume of work that needs to take place. But I think we can do it and we're able to do it. The technology is there. It's about leveraging it and getting I would say consensus among the team to be able to leverage the technologies.
It seems to be fairly well comprehensively covered, I think, from the two guys. I suppose digital twins, I think, is definitely a way forward in construction for sure, where the virtual replica is built and generative design, doing modeling, simulations. So all that stuff is done in advance and throughout the life cycle of the building itself. So you're looking at the life cycle assessment of the building, its carbon footprint, right from raw material, right to the end use and operation use of the building into the disassembly. So I think they are very, very important as we move forward. The digital twinning then has the ability, obviously, for smart cities and designing smart cities, whether that's waste to energy, whether it's traffic management facilities, whether it's the habitats of people and working to make sure their health and well-being is looked after. I think that's definitely for the future. Sometimes I think people need to walk before they can run, and I think we need that at the moment, because there's a lot of racing and we're going to miss a trick if we're going to truly make it sustainable for the region that we're in and to the leaders of the kingdom. We need to take a chill pill and relax and make sure that we do design for the future, because if we miss this gap, this is the landscape and it's a haven for any architect, any engineer, any construction professional, consultants, whatever. It's the mecca for these people. And if we don't do things right and leave that legacy, as I said earlier on, we're doing an injustice to the landscape we're currently participating in.
Thank you. I think our time is up, but it was lovely having this conversation with you guys. And looking forward for a better, brighter, and a sustainable future. So thank you so much for joining me on this panel.
Thank you, Vibha. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen. Very, very interesting points of view, attracting the youth to the construction of tomorrow. I quite like the idea of a data-driven construction myself. As we are going to take some photos of panel 1 on the stage, I would like panel 2 just to prepare themselves, and perhaps we could get you to walk over to the side so we can get you on the stage, wasting no time for all the good info that you're going to share with us. Do you have a question? Absolutely, questions are allowed. Guys, would you mind if we take a quick question? I don't know if we have a mic. What is your name, sir?
Hello.
Tell us your name and your question.
My name is Anthony. I'm specialist at Ta'mir Real Estate Saudi Construction Company. I have a question for you. When you talked specifically related to the new technologies that are being today in our work in the construction field, what are the strategies that you are using that you are implementing in order to have a better skilled labor force? Today we know the big technologies, sometimes we find that the laborers and the specialists are not in big numbers. So what are the strategies that you are implementing today in order to make sure that you have the most skilled labor in this new field? Thank you.
Absolutely. I think in-house training is essential, because where we're headed right now, we have to understand, and thank you for the question, it's a very beautiful question. It is very important to understand that what's happening in Saudi Arabia right now has never happened before in the history of the world. So, be it Trojena, be it Oxagon, be it the rig, be it Neon, be it the line, name it. It hasn't, and if it has happened or something similar on that magnitude, it hasn't happened in this speed. I mean, we need 320,000 hotel rooms before 2030. We only have 5.5 years to go. So imagine what kind of workforce you need for that, right? And what kind of training you need for that. So when we're hiring these days, we always focus on number one, that the one trait that the employee or the mid-level, high-level, or the lower level even has in him, that trait has to be adaptability, because the only thing constant is the change. So we're all changing, and we're rapidly changing in this part of the region. So until and unless your HR and your training and your operations are not aligned properly, you will not be able to enjoy this piece of the pie that's happening here. Because whenever there's a boom, there's people that get really successful, and then there's people that make mistakes. So it just doesn't serve that you're in that boom and in that region at that point in time. It really matters who you have on your team. So you need to have a very vibrant team, a team that is educated and tech savvy. Because if they're not tech savvy, they won't understand all these technological changes that are coming up. I mean, blockchain, crypto, artificial intelligence, VR, AR, robotics, drones. These are things that we saw in cartoons back in the day. So if we're actually going to be doing them now, automated driving, taxis, flying drones, deliveries, stuff like that, your team really and your HR really needs to focus that not only the in-house training, the people that you're getting on board need to have that trait in them to be able to learn and to be adaptable to the new things. Because otherwise, you'll just be lost and, in this whole fiasco that's happening, and you'll find yourself in a loner place, because you really need adaptability. One thing you want to take away from this, if anybody's coming into Saudi Arabia and coming up with your onboarding your team, make sure they're adaptable to the change, because what's happening is crazy, and there's going to be down days, there's going to be depression, there's going to be sad, there's going to be losses, there's going to be projects delayed, there's going to be litigation. So be ready for all that. It's a part of the whole cycle. It's a project. That's the ecosystem that we live in. So adaptability is key.
I just want to add to Anthony's question something. We in Ta'mir are implementing virtual, VDC, BIM. We're implementing the technologies in the engineering field. But when it comes to the site, the operations, the robotics, the modularities, the modular construction, the market today in Saudi Arabia is price-driven. So once you want to include such technologies or the construction technologies you want to work on, it always affects the price. So it's a competition. So you're going to get out because there's a resistance to change. Not all the contractors in the market are implementing such technologies today. So when you decide to do it and to implement it, especially on the site, it affects your cost, it affects your price, and you end up out of the market today. So what do you think? How can the modular construction, because we were looking at it, we were looking at implementing it today in Ta'mir company. But how do you think the costs can be studied in a proper way not to get out of the market when it comes to price-driven market today?
Gentlemen?
Yeah, good question. For ALEC as a business, we've looked at modular a good few years ago now. We obviously identified there is capacity issues on the supply chain, and it comes with starting, okay? So I'm not saying everybody has to create a modular unit tomorrow morning and start building hotel rooms, but at the end of the day, everything within inside that construction parcel from A to Z can be modularized in some shape or form. So it's having the skill set and abilities in your team to take a design and start to modularize for the benefit of removing the capacity constraints that are on the physical side. So if we believe we have extremely adept people within the business that can engineer, can modularize from a design that's not necessarily modules to remove that capacity constraint off the site. So you're removing the carbon footprint associated with transporting the people, whether it's mess facilities, whether it's accommodation, all that comes off, and you're improving the quality control at the end of the day. Everything has a time. If you're on the back end and you're appointed as a traditional contractor, there still is the ability to modularize and make volumetric some part and parcel of the design, especially in MEP systems, for the benefit. So I definitely think it comes with a start. As far as the market is concerned, we can see at the moment, just with the inquiries coming through, people are definitely appraised on the choke capacity on that supply chain, and we are definitely seeing the inquiry space changing now, looking for more volumetric construction. So that definitely is a positive as we run up to 2030. So for me, on delays on programs and removing capacity in the supply chain, delays have a fundamental bearing on that. So I think we all need to be accountable as stakeholders. That's everybody around the table, to be accountable, responsible, and do our jobs to the best of our ability. That comes with making decisions hastily for the benefit of the end stakeholder and the benefit of the market and the capacity in the market itself.
Just to add a one-liner to that, to your question, see, modular, it might not make financial sense to all the clients. So you really need to pick and choose the clients that you guys are tapping, number one. Number two, right now in Saudi Arabia, because we have Vision 2035 and a half years to go, and then the World Cup at 2034. So the majority of those projects are not looking for the commercial aspect versus the time. Modular is, you have to keep in mind, modular is faster and it's better quality. It's more accurate. So you have to pick and choose those clients that really believe that time is money. So where they have a target deadline on their head, they will go for modular. Those are the few, but you need to tap those because those 2% will drive the whole trend going forward.
Gentlemen, for being so gracious. I appreciate you taking.
We have all day, but we've been told to get off.
Sorry, guys, for the
Thank you,
sake
everybody.
of time, we have to move on, but please feel free to speak off stage. Thanks.